Welcome back to the Oracle Scroll. Today, we're discovering. Hi, I'm Kevin Walder, your host for the Oracle Scroll. And today I'm looking at card number 7, Discovery. Discovery. Discovery is another one of those features that we were born with. That's something that is just a part of us as a human being. We have the urge to discover. Think about that as a child, all the things that were there for us to discover. First, there were the other members of the family. If there were pets on the property, those really intrigued us. Even right down to, that piece of lint that was on the carpet. How might that taste? That's a discovery. But that's how we lived our life. We bounced from one discovery to another. It was quite interesting to us. And we had to assimilate all this information and store it for later because we were going to need to know. We were going to need to know that lint tasted horrible. We were also going to need to know that if we touched something that was glowing red, it was going to burn. Various things like that we had to be aware of. And discovery is basically how we learn. Very little of what we learned came by word of mouth. Very little of what we learned was actually taught to us. A lot of what we learned in those very early years especially was our own curiosity, our own discovery. And that stays with us throughout our lives. We have to have that kind of inquisitive nature that keeps us discovering for a lifetime. If you think about the tales of the discovery, the voyages of discovery, the age of discovery, those were very fascinating to a lot of people around that time. They needed to discover places to replenish their natural resources that were being depleted in their homelands. So their discoveries were quite important to sustaining human life for them. Unfortunately, they were also extremely selfish, and they were not very scrupulous in the way they handled the peoples and the civilizations that were attached to the raw materials they were discovering. Those are historical facts that are not pretty for us to look at. But the inquisitive nature that brought about the discovery in the first place, that's what we want to emulate. And we want to be compassionate and loving in the way we handle it as well. But discovery is a part of being human. And even if we're not going out and climbing mountains or diving into the deepest channels in the sea, we are still discovering. We're discovering things about ourselves. We're discovering things about our own little world. We're discovering things about the technology that we use on a daily basis. We're discovering things all the time. And it is exciting and it is an energizing feeling to discover something that is going to be extremely helpful and put us in the right spot for doing something even greater to better our lives. Now, this card is card number 7 in the little deck that I've been playing with. And a 7 to me is creative visualization. Oh boy, and that's a perfect number for discovery. You know what? When you go inside, when you enter that trance-like state and you begin to listen carefully, you're not asking for anything, you're not suggesting anything, you're simply listening carefully. You can discover absolutely wonderful things, magical things will become part of your day once you discover the route to take to get there. So please take a moment and discover. Discover something today, even if it just is a matter of picking up a book and looking at a passage that you may not have seen before, or looking at a passage that you may have ignored prior. Now is the time to discover. And let's face it, in our world today, right now in 2020, we've got time to discover. And it's really important for us to discover how we're going to go forward once we get back on what might be considered normal footing at some point, hopefully in the near future. Discovery. It's important to all of us. Let's just keep doing it every single day. Thank you once again for joining us for this episode of the Oracle Scroll. My books, Tarot for Lunch, Lessons from the Cards, and more recently, 22 Teachers, Healing Lessons from the Major Arcana, are both available on Amazon.com. Please check them out. They are very informative and helpful in learning and understanding the tarot. Also, please stop by kevinwalder.com, my website. You can book appointments for any of the services available at that spot. So stop by and take a look today. And most importantly, please subscribe by hitting the little red button down below, and also click the bell to make sure you don't ever miss an episode.